Uh, Good evening. Good morning, sir.
Good morning,
So,
Rakshit.
sir,
Try to join
sir,
here
so
and for me.
yes, sir, I can properly hear you. So, sir, any link you want to share, so do drop that link in private chat. I'll share it to the community people. Next, any like, sir, we have questions. So, like, okay, sir, yes, this is private chat, and sir, in between want to say something to me personally, then do drop it in the private chat. Private chat is not accessible to anyone.
Got it. Okay.
Got it.
Okay.
So,
Sounds good.
shall we start, sir?
Yeah, just a moment. I'm just getting set up here.
Okay, sir. So till then, I can start a countdown of 30, sir.
Just a moment. So, can we see the audience here, or I don't see the audience?
Sir, right now we have 107 audience, live audience.
Got it. Okay, that's great. So, welcome, folks. So, yeah. So, I guess I'm ready to begin. So, I have two parts to it. A presentation with
Okay, sir. Hello, everyone. I hope you are all are good and staying safe at your home. It's a Sunday morning. It's a shiny morning today, and we are having an incredible personality with us, Vivek Singhal, sir. This is Lakshit Pant, your host, community manager at Azure Developer Community, and Vivek Singhal sir. Let me give a brief about Vivek Singhal sir. He is co-founder at Celestat, and he has been leading multiple startup companies, leading in AI, and he has been working incredibly in the artificial intelligence and machine learning field. So over to you, Vivek sir.
Okay, so hello folks. So can I see the audience here? I can't see the audience. Okay. So okay, fair enough. So are we knowing bit of AI ML? Will how will I see people's comments?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Sir, you can see the comments just next to the
The
private
comments
chat.
I
There
can
will
see.
be a
All.
button of comments.
Got it.
Yes,
Got
sir.
it. So do we folks? So just a quick survey here. Do we know bit of AI and ML? Kindly respond under comments. Today's topic is artificial intelligence and machine learning. Okay. Innovations in AI. So do we know some AI ML here? Okay, I don't see any responses. Okay, yes, from Varun. Great. Okay, let's get started here in interest of time. So how do I share my screen? Let me share my screen here. Okay. Can you see my screen now?
Yes, sir. It's visible.
You can see my PowerPoint presentation.
Yes, sir. We can see.
Okay, great. So let's get started here, folks. So thanks again, once again, for joining. Thanks to the Azure development community for this opportunity to present. My name is Vivek Singhal. I am the co-founder and chief data scientist with Cellstrat. So we are a prominent AI startup based in Delaware, US, actually, but the team is in India. And we have an AI platform which allows you to learn AI and develop AI easily and efficiently. And we have a community of 15,000 AI enthusiasts on meetup.com. And we have recorded more than 500 webinars on our YouTube channel in different areas of AI, such as machine learning, deep learning, computer vision, reinforcement learning, NLP, etc. And so we are a prominent AI startup, also recognized by Your Story Tech 50 program last year. Okay, and angel funded, incorporated in Delaware. So that's a bit of intro. So AI is more important than fire or electricity. This is a statement from, one of our role models in the world, Sundar Pichai, for CEO of Google, right? And so it's that important, and it is really disrupting almost every industry around us in variety of ways and solutions, right? So I've already discussed cell start, so I'll skip this. And so I have a bit of a background for myself that might help you set up, understand me better. So I was based in US before, working for AT&T as a last job. Then last 10 years in Bengaluru, I started with IBM Global Services in Bengaluru as director of telecom solution. And last few years I'm in startup mode. In my current startup, I am doing AI, along with my co-founder Vishal, who's based in NCR. I'm based in Bengaluru, and we have a global community of 15,000 AI enthusiasts, right? Yeah, let's get started with the main topic, the AI innovations, right? So let's understand, well, get some basic definitions out of the way, even though some of you seem to know AI. So AI is about inculcating human style intelligence in machines. It has and one of the branch of AI is machine learning, where we have algorithms that allow computers to learn from historical data, right? So we are able to do house price prediction. We are able to train robots, driverless cars, computer vision, and speech recognition, and so on, right? Handwriting recognition. And deep learning uses neural networks. It's a specialized form of machine learning, and using these neural networks we are able to tackle more complex AI problems, whether they involve images or they involve text, right? Or wherever the predictive analytics is very difficult for classic ML to handle, that's where we apply the horsepower of artificial neural network, which forms the area of deep learning, right? And so there are a variety of applications of AI. Some of them are listed here, but really this area is endless. There are probably lakhs of potential business applications for AI. In almost every area we can imagine, we can make a big list of AI applications. So this is an NVIDIA slide. So it shows the distinction between these areas. Sometimes we get confused. What's the difference between data science, AI, and ML? So AI is the over-encompassing area where we inculcate human-style intelligence in machines or systems. Machine learning is a branch of AI which allows us to train AI agents with help of certain data science algorithms or mathematical algorithms. And then deep learning is a specialized form of machine learning. So data science, AI, ML are often interchangeably used, and data engineering is different, but data science is often interchangeably used with AI and ML. Okay, but data engineering refers to your data repositories and data management using Hadoop, or applications like Snowflake, etc., right? But that's a different area. But AI starts with data. Once you have good clean data, we can train AI models and deploy for the AI inference, right? So AI has two steps, three steps: data preparation, and then training the AI model, and then using it for inferring on production data, right? So a bit more details here. So machine learning is a branch of AI, and machines learn by observing historical data. And here we build algorithms instead of explicitly programming them. So machine learning is a branch of applied mathematics. It uses data science algorithms. We do, of course, programming using Python or R or any of the languages, but Python is dominant now, as we know, and we develop AI models with the help of Python. But really, what we are trying to do, if your customer sent you some data, let's say house price prediction, and this is the data you got from your customer, where you have x1 area of the house, let's say the age of the house, and this is the price of the house in let's say dollars or something. So when you get this kind of a tabular data sheet or Excel sheet from your customer, all we are trying to do is discover the relationship between X and Y, right? So the problem statement in machine learning then becomes trying to find the ideal relation between input X and output Y. That's what we mean by training an AI model, right? So what do we mean by training an AI model? I mean, it's a software program, of course, that we are basically trying to reverse engineer or extrapolate or discover the relationship between input variables X and output variable Y. So X are called independent variables, input features. Y is called the dependent variable. So in this case, given the area of the house and the age of the house, we are trying to predict the price of the house, which is Y. So I need historical data. Unless I have historical data, I cannot train an AI agent. So this area is called machine learning, where we are using data to train AI agents. Okay. This, what is AI agent? This equation is AI. At the end of the day, AI is nothing but a mathematical equation. Okay, it is always trying to predict y for some x, right? So that's the most normal scenario in AI. So again, I'll repeat, at the end of the day, AI is nothing but a mathematical equation which relates input to output. That's it. Okay, so in most cases that would be true, unless it's unsupervised learning, which is slightly different. But in most cases, AI is a at the end of the day, AI is a mathematical equation. So you can think of a robot. A robot should go right, left, straight, right? Driverless car. What is in an image? What is the meaning of speech? Speech recognition chatbot, right? Or any kind of banking prediction, detecting money laundering. So all of these are Y predictions of some kind, right? So what is deep learning now? Deep learning is a specialized form of machine learning. It uses networks of interconnected units called neurons, which you see on the right. And these are called artificial neural networks, which are modeled on the concept of human brain, the neural networks of human brain. They are useful for more complex applications such as image processing, speech recognition. So here I like to call it like a divide and conquer strategy, because trying to find, so what is x here? X is the image. And what is y here? The y is simply the label, whether this image has a car, person, or animal. Now discovering the relationship from x to y is very complicated using classic machine learning. So what we do divide and conquer mechanism. We break the pixels of this image, and each of these pixels have what we call as RGB value, right? And these becomes my input features x1, x2, x3, and so on. So each of these pixels, however many pixels, will I'll have that many input features. Then we have first hidden layer which detects edges, second hidden layer which detects corners, contours, and so on. And then finally it is able to identify the whole object. So I call it a divide and conquer strategy. Instead of trying to get from x to y directly, so I am trying to get in piecemeal approach, right? So the equation now changes. So notice how the equation changes now. So first, so after, in the first layer is a function of x, right? In the second layer is a function of this output, right? Let's put a, b, c, d, e, f, g. And in the third layer, it's a function of this output, right? So like that, however many layers are there, it is an embedding. So this layer is a function of this layer. This layer is a function of this layer. This layer is a function of this layer, and so on, right? That's why the equation is slightly more complicated from x to y. So this is called a neural network, and this equation represents the equation of the neural network in a simplified form. Still, AI is about discovering the nature of this relation. And when I say the nature of this relation, if I go back to the previous slide, what I'm really trying to discover is the weights of this model, right? I'm trying to discover the weights of this model. So the weights of this model is the slope with respect to that feature. Because if you remember the equation, y is equal to mx plus c. Now I have y is equal to wx plus c. Or normally here we use the letter b, not c, right? So earlier we used to have m, y is equal to mx plus c. Now I have w. So w1 is dy over dx, w2 is dy over dx2, and w1 is dy over dx1. So it is an extension of linear algebra, basically. So if I were to plot, if there was only one feature x, we are trying to find the equation of the line given historical samples. Let's say there are some historical samples, xy samples given here. We are trying to find the equation of the line which satisfies these dots. So this is the equation of the line given by this linear algebra equation. This is what we are trying to do in the process of training a ML model or AI model. Basically, we are trying to find the equation of the line which satisfies the historical data points on that coordinate geometry chart. Clear? Any questions so far? Okay, let me see the comments here. Okay, I don't see any particular comment, so I'll continue here. Okay, we have understood right? Now let's keep going. So now we go to the innovations in AI. That's the topic for today. So we understood some basics of MLDL. Now let's there are lots of algos in MLDL. I'm not going to get into that a whole lot. That's like many weeks of training is required for that, and we do training. We have a fantastic platform for AI development, which I'll demonstrate shortly. But let's get into innovation. So of course, a robotic concierge at the front desk of SDFC Bank, or even in front desk of a hotel like Hilton. And computer vision, so assisted driving for senior citizens or drunken driving situations, right? Or driverless cars, of course. Then counting the cars using from satellite imagery, using it for demand forecasting for a retail store like Walmart, right? Or insurance damage assessment from damaged objects or cars, so that you don't have to send an insurance underwriter to the site to do a damage assessment of the accident. Hopefully nobody got hurt, and so we can take a photo and upload it to the insurtech website, and it can automatically assign a approximate amount it will take to repair this car based on a trained AI model. And of course, detecting people in a crowd control process in a shopping mall or otherwise, right? Big brother watching us through computer vision and AI algorithms crunching the face recognition and the traffic in that mall and so on, right? So AI is also generative in nature because it's probabilistic modeling. So it can basically output any kind of content, images, text, video. In future, AI will be the producer of movies, will be the author of novels, will be creating OTT series, and will be creating all kinds of content. So AI is a content generator because it's a probabilistic modeling, right? So I can have various algorithms like generative adversarial network, which will allow me to generate art and videos and music, right? So in future, content producers jobs will be under threat. In this case, we have what we call as a style transfer algorithm. I take the content of this image and the style of this image, and we superimpose to get this image, right? So very interesting. So already AI generated art is being auctioned by auction houses like Sotheby's in London and so on. So time series modeling. In the old days, statisticians will use techniques like ARIMA, SARIMA. These are statistical modeling techniques for time series prediction, such as stock market prediction. Or you will use Excel time series models in Microsoft Excel or spreadsheet software. Now we have more sophisticated AI algorithms to do the same thing. Things like algorithms like recurrent neural networks. So here I am able to predict the 21st day stock price, or the where the this can also be used for example, a rocket is going to Mars. So where the rocket will be three on the 1 year from now, while it is on a journey to Mars. So I can predict that using a time series modeling. So you might ask, what is X and Y here? So well, X is the first 20 days of stock price, let's say, of Reliance share, and then Y would be the second to 21st day stock price of Reliance share, right? So X would be the closing price of Reliance company, for 20 days, and the Y would be the same thing, but one time step shifted into the future, right? So we are able to then reverse engineer or discover the relationship between the X vector and the Y vector, and using this information, now I can predict the 21st day stock price given any set of 20 stock prices, 20-day stock prices, right? So I can predict using 20-day stock price, I can predict 21st day stock price, something like that. This is called time series modeling. We do it with recurrent neural networks or LSTM RNNs. This is a application of natural language processing. Here you can see that I can take a long form text and create a short form text, right? So this is called text summarization algorithm. So this is one NLP application. There are many. When you start typing a search query in Google search box, it is using variety of AI algorithms such as grammar correction, sentence completion, right? And also a speech recognition and handwriting recognition. So there are a lot of NLP and vision related applications which are useful for legal industry, media industry, content industry, researchers and so on, right? Or anybody who's sitting on a lot of text in this case. So I'll show you some real demos actually of these applications. I'm just going to the theory part. I'm going to get to the demos very soon. So this is a driverless car which also uses an IBM Watson platform, which is IoT enabled as well. So using IoT sensors, it is doing a combination of IoT data sets which are being analyzed by AI algorithms in real time. So it knows where to drive, and it can also talk to you. Okay, take me to a Thai restaurant, and it will take you there. So this is showing computer vision in a cashierless store. In future, we predict that there will be stores which have no manpower to man them. Maybe a guard or two at the front. That's it. Because automatically with computer vision, I can detect the inventory being picked up from the shelves, and it will trigger a back-end order to the manufacturer in the supply chain process. It will detect your geo presence in the store from your mobile phone, GPS, and then once you keep the products in your shopping cart, there's a camera attached to the shopping cart which will detect the objects you have kept in your shopping cart. And once you leave the geographic zone of that store, it will automatically charge your products in your shopping cart to your mobile wallet, right? So cashierless store, Amazon is trying them in Seattle and other cities. In India also, there are some startups working on this technology. So human pose estimation, vision AI algorithm. This is being used by European football clubs and many other global software sports teams. And also IPL is now recruiting analytics teams, right? IPL teams, because now you can apply business analytics or data analytics to sports teams' behavior. And this technology of pose estimation can also be used for AR, VR, self-driving vehicles, cinematography, motion picture industry, gaming, and fashion design. Companies like Myntra have been using this since forever. Of course, defense, to detect enemy movement in the border zone. So there are a lot of applications like that. And then variety of computer vision tasks like semantic segmentation, classification, localization, creating a bounding box regression around the object, identifying the object, detecting objects in that image, or color coding them in different colors. This is called instant segmentation. So there are a variety of business use cases, as we can imagine. Wherever images are involved, there are a lot of interesting applications of these algorithms. Self-driving vehicle, we have often heard, and indeed in 10 years they are predicting there will be a healthy amount of self-driving vehicles, particularly in developed markets where the roads and the traffic permits that. In India it will take longer, probably, given the very chaotic road conditions in India, right? But there will be designated zones and lanes in India where driverless cars will be possible, right? And it can basically bring your grocery and so on, or you can sit in the back seat, right? So of course healthcare is going to be disrupted with AI. Healthcare industry has been particularly hesitant to allow technologies to disrupt. They are very lucrative industry, if you will, right? And so doctors in US make a lot in salary, and it's very hard to convince doctors and pharma professionals to adopt technological disruption. But it is inevitable given the shortage of qualified medical professionals in the world and doctors in the world. So it is inevitable that AI will find users, already being experimented in many medical situations. From chest X-ray, you can detect COVID, and brain MRI and all that. And of course, the assembly line being manned by robots entirely. So yes, AI is disruptive to the job market, and even AI can instrument code in the future. And we, all of us who are developers, we'll find AI will be able to write some of the code and automate your entire DevOps lifecycle end to end. So yes, so we always have to skill ourselves so we keep ahead of the AI disruption. Otherwise, AI will take over the grunt work in the DevOps process, including instrumenting code or understanding requirement specs documents to write code and test it and deploy it automatically. Also monitoring the code in production, and cyber security as well. So there's a new area of AI which has come up in the last few years. Is called reinforcement learning. This is particularly useful for robotics, gaming, driverless cars, even mutual fund asset allocation strategy. So this is based on game theory, where our agent learns based on action reward behavior. Given an action, the environment gives it a reward. So agent runs an appropriate policy. So there are specific RL algorithms or reinforcement learning algorithms which are coming up, right? So it's a couple of use cases shown here. Robotics, gaming. The top right is Miss Pac-Man game, the game of Go in bottom left, which is a oriental game played in Vietnam and such countries, I believe. And then chess, of course. Then the automatic thermostat, so your power systems management, and then stock market predictions, of course, detecting black swan events like the Lehman crisis or COVID-19 pandemic. So demand forecasting, supply chain forecasting. So you can see here some patterns of rising sales over 4 years, or seasonality. See in the bottom two, you see seasonality in Q4. The sales of every retail company in the world go up, right? That's the holiday season, shopping season. But in the first two, you don't see seasonality. In the first top left one, you see no demand growth over 4 years or 48 months. In the top right, you see demand growth but no seasonality over 4 years. So these things were analyzed with traditional statistical modeling or Microsoft Excel based forecasting, spreadsheet forecasting. Now we are using more sophisticated RNN algorithms, right, for doing these forecasting. Of course, you can have vision cameras which are watching a shop floor in a factory, and like a big brother watching for pilferage and damage and any problems on the assembly line or the manufacturing shop floor. So that was some of the demos. Any questions before I switch to the demos, please? So there are some questions here. Let me try to answer them one by one. Hi, Vishal. Actually, I am Vivek. We have my co-founder is Vishal, so we're kind of similar. Yes. So okay. We have seen AI tech now slowly and gradually taking over media jobs. Large media companies are using them to draft stories. Do you think fear of losing jobs is real or still made up? See, technology is disruptive, but provided we skill, we should be fine. If you remember when computers came around, there was a lot of fear in the banking and the BPO and other kind of service industries that computers will drive away a lot of jobs. So it's a job transformation, not job reduction. So we need to upskill ourselves so we can stay ahead of the technological disruption race. So if you don't upskill, yes, so many of the jobs can become redundant. So what happened in 90s? Computers came around, internet came around, and new kind of jobs got created. Those who knew computers, right? All the banking professionals started using computers, right? So I personally, I don't think it's that much disruptive. If you notice right now, the demand for technology professionals is accelerating in spite of a lot of automation technology. So the demand for tech professionals always seems to escalate since forever. We have been tracking it, and it never reduces because you need more and more specialized personnel to operate these new age technologies, right? So I don't think the job threat is that much, but yes, if we don't upskill and transform, jobs could be under threat. Even us developers, right? So it can is automate many parts of the DevOps lifecycle. Will in future there will be a change or transformation that can inculcate human emotions? Yes, so we are already working on it, right? We are working on artificial general intelligence, which can inculcate human style emotion. So there's already emotion detection. I mean, that's for human faces, but we will have bots which will be able to kind of show emotional behavior, if you will. How will AI change warfare? In future, all warfare will be technological, just like we see in Russia and Ukraine, right? There's a lot of cyber attacks happening on both sides. So in future, most of the warfare will shift to the cyber warfare domain, right? And then hacking other countries' system. And of course, already with computer vision satellite, we can track enemy movement, right? And so on. And break their protocols and such. And then quantum computing is coming up, which will allow us to break the best of algorithm security, cyber, SSL and all those algorithms which secure internet data. So we have to apply more and more. So quantum and AI also work hand in hand. There's quantum machine learning now, so they will be able to. We'll have to see how that disrupts existing systems. What are educational requirements for career in AI? So yes, so if you have a background in science or engineering, it's useful. But that said, AI is not limited to just engineers. All kind of professionals can learn, AI application. Even BCom, BSc, BA folks can learn, and definitely for engineers of all branches and all PCM grads, this is fine, right? So this is very much relevant because it involves applied mathematics and programming. Even non, because in BCom or BA, let's say you are a BCom graduate or MCom graduate and a chartered accountant, AI is coming in your area, right? So we do sometimes takes workshop for BCom MCom students also. We are teaching machine learning and Python to variety of MBA institutes right now. Even many IIMs, Indian Institute of Management, are asking us to do a machine learning boot camps for their MBA students, because I asked them why IIM students need to learn machine learning programming. Well, they say everything in marketing and financial services is programming driven, right? So that's why. How will AI impact financial inequality or concentrate wealth? I mean, it is already happening. If you see why Amazon, Google, Microsoft, these companies have become all too powerful, right? Because they have all the data, and they control the technological. I mean, they pretty much hire the best tech talent in the world because of their, very good work environment, and of course the high salaries they are able to pay, highly profitable companies. So already we see that the tech behemoths are sort of, becoming more and more powerful. That's why there is a outcry from regulators, let's say in Europe, US, even in India, where they want to throttle the power of the tech behemoth. So there is some inequality in that sense, yes. So, but generally these companies are ethical, but they sometimes they end up making too much profit, and a lot of other businesses are unable to compete with their heft, basically. So how to get the ample data, as we need a huge data to make a precisely accurate graph? How to achieve this? So well, this problem has been kind of solved. Now we have pre-trained models, right? If you work in AI, you would have heard of Hugging Face Transformer, BERT, ResNet for images. So already we have pre-trained models, so we can just do what we call as transfer learning. So with our limited data set, we can use a pre-trained model. Let's say BERT from Google is already trained on Wikipedia, and it has captured the textual features of most of the global vocabulary in Wikipedia, right? So you can do incremental NLP training on it. So you don't need as much data as in the old days, because you have pre-trained models and transfer learning possible. I have also worked on object detection, but I am little confused why my model only scans the small objects. If I pull up some vehicle or something like that, then it shows nothing or false info. So that's just about model tuning. In object detection in computer vision, there are zillions of papers and algorithms, right? So either we change the model, either or we need more data. If your AI model is not performing well, you can do many things. You can increase the data set, you can look at data pre-processing activity, data preparation, balancing the data set between multiple classes. You can change the algorithms, you can apply more horsepower or capacity, right? You can tune the hyperparameter. There are like dozen things you can do to get better accuracy on your AI models. Okay, any other questions before I switch to some of the demos? Okay, let me meanwhile start my self setup instance. So as I said, we are an AI development platform, a company which allows you to develop, learn, develop, deploy AI very easily and efficiently. You can see that here. We are selected by Your Story Tech 50 last year. So it's a very extensive AI platform. We work with more than 40 colleges and universities right now all across India, including many IIT IIMs, Vishwesvaraya Technical University and many of its colleges, Bombay colleges, Kolkata, Chennai, and so on. So you can easily sign up here. If you go ahead, you can just sign up here for a free account. And it's a SaaS model, which means there is a very nice free tier account, and you can easily do learning and development in free tier without worrying about the upgrade. But if you want to do commercial grade AI work, then you'll have to upgrade for higher capacity cloud. The whole platform is hosted on AWS, and we have more than 150 plus projects bundled here, certified, and with the along with the runtime, for example, Python projects, machine learning projects. So a bit like GitHub, but GitHub doesn't give you runtime. We give you projects and runtime and APIs, right? So it is much more extensive than a Google Colab or GitHub. So I'm going to use this platform to demo some of the apps to you. Okay. So let me just sign in here. So now once you sign up and sign in, then you'll get this. You can click on add more packs, check out any of these packs. In my personal account, I have already checked out these packs. So that's a graph neural network, has these projects bundled and so on. So I can check out the remaining packs as well, whatever I need. And then once I check out the packs, they would appear here. And then I'll start my workspace and launch the programming environment, which is a Jupyter Lab IDE running on AWS EC2 instance. Those who have done AI or Python programming would probably have used Jupyter Notebook or Google Colab, right? So you're familiar with that. Those who are not used to it, Jupyter Lab is one kind of IDE or integrated development environment, very similar to Visual Studio, which is used in the Azure Word, right? Or Microsoft Word or Eclipse and so on. So Jupyter Notebook is a very intuitive IDE, much more easier to manipulate than, let's say, an Eclipse maybe, or a code-based editor like Visual Studio. But many people prefer to use Visual Studio, Eclipse, that's fine as well, or PyCharm. All right, so I'm just waiting for the instance to start. Meanwhile, let me show you some of the other things. You can, of course, check out these packs. You can explore the projects in each of them. These are the projects in our computer vision AI pack. And let me do some demos meanwhile. You can deploy your AI models as an API on our platform. And for example, I have deployed 5 models: image classifier, extractive question answer chatbot, named entity recognition, pose estimation algorithm, and sentiment analysis on text. And I have connected it with this API endpoint key, and I can publish this API key to my internal or external clients and have a private AI deployment, right? If you want to use a public AI marketplace, you can simply go to our API marketplace, and there are ready-made APIs here which you can call for including AI compute, let's say in your mobile app, web app. You can simply call it with a JSON web service request. If you're a web or mobile developer, you know what I'm talking about. And you can simply call the API using a web service request using a JSON payload, right? JSON payload is basically REST API protocol. So here in this, it will show you the specification how to call this API. Okay, let me see what's going on here. So I started my workspace fine. Now let's go back to API marketplace. Let me go to entity extraction. Okay, yeah. So here, how to use the API? You can see the payload. You have to send in the JSON input and the output payload. And basically, this can be used for detecting entities in text. If you want to see this app in action or use it for your business, you can just simply, let's say, I'll take some Ukraine news, which is the news right now, unfortunate war. So let me take this text here, right? Take some arbitrary text here, and I'm going to post it here, copy and paste. And I'm going to, because now model is ready, I can do make prediction. It will do entity extraction from this text which I have posted. It will recognize person, organization, location, or miscellaneous. So it says model is performing inference. So these are the demos on our platform. I'll show you some demos outside of this also. So you can see it has extracted the key entities: person, miscellaneous, and location, and so on, right? And then the same thing you can do with the sentiment analysis or whatever. Let's say I do a question answer chatbot here. So I'm going to paste this text which I had copied before, right? So President Biden calls his Russian counterpart Putin a butcher. Okay, I'll skip on that meaning. Controversial discussions. But indeed, a very unfortunate war, highly avoidable, and too much loss of life for no reason. So, question is that what did Biden say, right? So it need to have that. It's a question answer chatbot. Why did Biden say? Make prediction. right? So it will basically try to answer called his Russian counterpart, Putin a butcher who cannot remain in power, right? So it is able to intelligently answer the correct answer given that question. Let's say I want to do object detection, so I have couple of computer vision APIs also. So let's say I pick up any of these images here. Let me pick up a nice image here. So you can see this is a dogs and cats image which I am picking up, dogs and cats image, and I'm waiting for the model to load. Then I'm going to do an inference or prediction. So this model is already deployed as an API on our AWS cloud, and then we are just doing inference on it. So we have simplified the whole AI experience for a learner, developer, or company. That's what we have done. So it is able to detect dog with a 99% confidence score and a cat with a 100% confidence score. It creates a bounding box positioning also. Okay, so I hope you liked some of those demos. And now let me go back to dashboard. So this workspace is now started. I can launch the programming editor here. And if you are a developer interested in AI learning development, I'm showing you how you can use our platform vis-a-vis Colab or local Jupyter Notebook or a local Visual Studio and such. So this is a complete ID in itself with all those bundled projects which you have checked out. So earlier we used to take GitHub code and export it to our local computer or Colab and do it there. Now everything is in one place. So if you go to the packs folder, let's say you want to learn about machine learning, so you can just go here, open any of these projects. So these are under the packs folder which we have checked out before, and then you can use this for jumpstart learning and development. And it gives you various kernel runtimes like Python 3.x, PyTorch, TensorFlow for deep learning neural networks, and so on. It's a very extensive AI platform, end-to-end AI ops platform. You want to do face detection, model in computer vision, a ready-made project is bundled here, right? Using MTCNN protocol, right? You can use it for jumpstart learning and development. You can upload your custom data sets or images here and do you adapt the model to your data set. And once you're ready to launch it as an API, you can use the hub API quick start process, and it will basically become a Docker image on our AWS server, right? So you can deploy your AI model as an API in less than 15 minutes by following a quick start deployment process. And once you deploy the AI model, it would appear in your deployment dashboard, and you can then connect it with an API endpoint key and open it to your internal and external clients. So there is overlap with GitHub, there is overlap with Colab, there is overlap with OpenAI GPT, there is overlap with Hugging Face API. So yes, so we have also created a system which sort of competes with these companies in some way, but also leverages them, right? If you see, we are using a lot of Hugging Face algorithms like transformers and so on. And a lot of this code was initially taken from the open source code of GitHub, then tested and customized here. And whoever uploaded the code here, then their name is shown here. Just like in GitHub you have repositories, you can have your packs here, and it can be used for your building up your resume and such, right? Okay, so I hope you enjoyed those demos, and now I'll go to some demos outside of Cellstrat Hub. Any questions before then? Okay, I'm just checking for the question list here. What are expansion packs? So these are set of projects in vision, in NLP, in reinforcement learning, driverless car, and so on. You can use them for jumpstart development. So just like you have GitHub repositories, we have expansion packs. These are, yes, notebook files, Jupyter notebook files. They are projects. What kind of unexpected failures might occur in a world built upon AI? Well, I mean, it's like millions of apps, right? So a lot of things can go wrong. So you have to have a lot of domain and technical expertise to be able to do it well, right?
Yes. So, sir, like this session is being hosted on two channels, so there are some questions on the other channel also. I have pasted this
Yeah. So
question in
yeah,
the
I've,
private
I've
chat, so you can
answered.
check out it
I've
out in private chat.
Okay, private chat. Okay, let me
Sir,
just check. I'm
yes,
very new to college. Everyone around me is buzzing about AI and ML. I'm very confused. Also, I'm not good at maths, and should I go for this or not? So basically, a fair question. So I didn't understand what degree are you pursuing. If I assume you are pursuing an engineering or science maths degree, then you are automatically suitable for AI, because you'll be studying maths and most likely you'll study some kind of programming. So over time, by second, third year of your branch, you will be able to, you know, sort of understand this, and you leverage this technology for your career development. And as I said, even BCom, MCom, MBA students are nowadays trying to learn Python and machine learning because it's useful in their careers. Sir, we AI are in advancing our lives. Even I am also an AI engineer. It has side effects also, replacing people. What are your views on this? See, technological disruption is inevitable, right? That's how the world has always progressed, right? So there were cars invented, the wheel got invented, then you have computers, you got internet. So it is inevitable. So technology will always try to disrupt the world, including jobs. We have to just upskill ourselves for the rest of our lifetime, and so that we are always ahead of our job disruption, right? There's no other solution, because technology helps also, right? This AI can solve for so many diseases and problems, right? And research, discovering medicines. So there are a lot of useful cases also, but indeed it has some negative use cases also, like warfare and such. I am planning to start my AI startup in my region, specifically on the farming side. So, any advice? See, reach out to us. Our platform can be launched. Self startup can be used to launch your startup. So, we are also an AI incubator, right? So, you can launch your AI model on our platform. But in general, if you want to just brainstorm with me, I'm very active on LinkedIn. Just search for Vivek Single or Cellstrat on LinkedIn. You can reach out to me. I'm happy to discuss about your AI startup idea. I've been following you on LinkedIn for 6 months. I'm very excited to see your work. Can you give a glimpse about leading such companies, being a co-founder? What are the key areas? So startup discussion is an altogether another discussion, and the challenges of running a startup are plenty. I have been trying to run startup for 7 years after I left my full-time job. It is very hard thing to do indeed, and much harder than doing a regular job. But some people have that burning desire or the fire in the belly, and I had that, and that's why I'm doing startups. But yes, it's a very hard thing to succeed in. But if you have a fire in the belly, you can do, and I'm happy to do a startup strategy discussion maybe at another time, or you can reach out to me on LinkedIn. Happy to talk to you about startup strategy. And I have tried many startups, so I have plenty of insight in that, I guess. And there are so many libraries in Python for AI ML, which is the best one to use. So in case of classic ML, scikit-learn is the one being used, matplotlib, numpy, right? For deep learning, PyTorch is now dominant, or TensorFlow, right? PyTorch is somehow more popular. All are open source libraries, freely available, right? So I would say for deep learning, PyTorch or TensorFlow, and for classic ML, the usual bets are scikit-learn or numpy and matplotlib. Sir, I want to be entrepreneur. My brain is filled with ideas and that I want to share, but I am scared of coming on main screen. I am just about to complete my graduation. So, as I said, if you have a fire in the belly, you want to do startup, let's do it. I mean, it's just something you have to do, right? We don't want to die thinking or regretting we did not do something we want to do, right? Startup is a noble activity. You're trying to be an entrepreneur and not just a job seeker trying to create jobs, and it is useful for society as well. But it is adventurous because nobody's paying you a salary. It's very hard to raise venture capital funding also. So it is adventurous, but it is very impactful. And if you ask me, the world needs startups, right? So startup entrepreneurs are the one who create jobs and new innovation. So more the better. If you have a fire in the belly, willing to take that adventurous ride, by all means you should. Otherwise you'll regret it in the old age. I didn't try it, like that. But that said, many people are content doing a regular job. You can have entrepreneurial groups within companies also, and there are many internal accelerators in many companies, so you can pursue that safer route as well. Any books you recommend on business mindset? Business is learned by doing it. I don't know, I did my MBA from US, but I'm telling you that 2 years running a startup or trying to work in a startup is more than an MBA. So I don't know of any books which can help your business mindset. It's just about learning it the hard way. There is no easy way to do business. Okay. You can call me on LinkedIn. You can reach out. We can always discuss in detail about businesses and startups. What the way I have experienced it. Still trying to go big. We have not become big yet. We are a small startup, but angel funded. A follow-up question: if there is something like mastering the skill, I can speak a bit in English, but when I start to speaking a bit, okay, so English, I'm telling you something, folks. This idea of that English being a predicate of success, let's junk this idea. Your customer don't care, right? Where your employer don't care if you can write good code, if you can make good product for your customer, they don't care whether you know English or not. Maybe the investor will bit hesitate if you can't convey your idea, or your manager may not easily promote you. But if your project or product is that much, you let your work speak to you. Lack of English or public speaking confidence cannot be inhibitor. I grew up in a small town called Roorkee. Even when I'm standing with four friends, I could not speak a word. I was that shy, right? And I was a day scholar in IIT Roorkee. It was University of Roorkee then, because my father was a professor in IIT Roorkee. I could not speak in front of friends also, let alone speaking on stage. But then when I went to US, HCL exported me to US as part of the IT project, right? And then I realized that over time I just picked up. I used to go to a lot of events. The way you can improve your communication skill is by networking in events, becoming an event organizer. Like Lakshit is organizing this event right now, right? So become an event organizer. That will help improve your network, your confidence, and your communication skills. That's what I did in US. I became an event evangelist, and that helped me improve and get me on the stage. And I was forced to speak on the stage. Now I can speak with great conviction, right? I came from a very, very shy background, so I could not speak, but now I give lectures everywhere. So I belong to a tier 3 college, and recently I met with my senior. He got a research internship offer in Kharagpur. Now he's going to Singapore. He has been advising me about not going into the trap of mastering this. He asked me to learn Kagel's daily competition. Yes, so absolutely. Participating in hackathons on Hacker Earth, right, or Kaggle or any such is absolutely, your GitHub profile should be growing. If you are aspiring for your a technological career, your GitHub profile should be growing rapidly, and you should be participating every possible hacking competition. You should be contributing to platforms like Self-Start Hub, where you can showcase your work. Right, I showed you the expansion packs with the author names. So you should be very much out there. You should be giving webinars, attending webinars. You should be networking in NASCOM, TIE, and all such communities like this Azure development community. So yes, so you have to be marketing yourself and your skill set, and growing through hackathons. Absolutely. Python is the preferred language for ML, but I am good in C++. I have 5 years in C++. Then I get stuck in Python. Let me tell you something. If you know C, C++, Python is a walk in the park for you. C, C++ are the mother of all languages. Okay. I mean, before that, we have Pascal and Fortran, but C, C++ are the mother of all modern programming languages. If you know C, C++, you can do anything else in programming easily. 1 week of practice, you'll be up and running. So don't worry. If you know, I started with C, and then I went to C++. I started with a book called Carnegie Ritchie, the most famous C book, then Strauss Troop for C++. And after that, I found Java so easy, and then Python even easier. .NET easy, C sharp. So if you are C++ developer, congratulations, you'll find Python is so easy. So you can focus more on the AI algorithmic complexity and not get stuck. I don't think you'll get stuck with Python if you practice it for 1 week. It will just take you 1 week to migrate to Python if you are already C++ expert. Those are much more harder languages. They are the mother of all these languages. How to start with research paper? So once you network, so all the AI scientists in the world are always sharing the latest papers on LinkedIn, Twitter, Reddit, right? Stack Overflow. So follow the AI thought leaders on LinkedIn, Twitter, Reddit, Stack Overflow, and they are always recommending papers. So start reading them. Start doing courses. You can do courses with my company. You can do on Coursera, on EDX, on Udemy, or your engineering college may be teaching you. So keep doing courses, keep doing hackathons, create a GitHub profile, showcase your work, speak in webinar. We want to brand ourselves as prominent upcoming scientists. That's the only way to find lucrative careers, right? And find eminence. Can you give a little crux about Cellstrat and how a working person like me can utilize it? I'm a network engineer at Cisco. I love to play with the IML tool. So Yeah, I mean, we are an AI startup, right? We are angel funded, incorporated in Delaware, have been in business for 5 years. Our AI platform, which I just demonstrated, was created last year. Now we have evolved into a global developer tools platform. We are trying to create a GitHub of AI, if you will, right? GitHub of AI. So we have a huge AI community of 15,000 AI enthusiasts, right? So you can reach out to me and let me show you some of our community. So if you go to our meetup page, you will find a huge AI community which we have. We do AI meetups almost every weekend. You're welcome to attend those, right? So if you see our upcoming calendar, almost every weekend we do AI workshops. This is our community. It's called Disrupt 4.0. So you can join on meetup.com. You can join some of these. If you Google Cellstrat, you'll find lots of links. Okay. You can check our YouTube channel. We have 400 AI webinars recorded on our YouTube channel. So you can check the Cellstrat YouTube channel. We have 400 to 500 AI webinars on our YouTube channel. You can check our research blog, which has also 400 AI research blogs. We have a book and AI being sold on Amazon India, Amazon US, right? So a business book on AI, but we have technical blogs where we have written close to 400 AI research papers slash blogs. So we are a very large AI community, right? So I showed you almost 15,000 strong on meetup.com. So you can follow us and follow our webinars and so forth. And if you are a network engineer in Cisco, in networking also, route optimization, signal processing, it's all AI now, right? Cyber security, network, all kinds of router optimization, signal processing is done with AI now. Doing Kaggle is mandatory or not, how to increase rank in Kaggle. So obviously it's practice. It's not mandatory to do hackathon, folks. There are many techniques to grow your profile. I just mentioned many of them. It's not just hackathon. It's about your papers. It's how much networking you're doing on LinkedIn, Twitter, Reddit, Stack Overflow. Are you posting about AI content on Quora and adding to the global community's knowledge, right? So it's building eminence in multiple ways. Hackathon, Kaggle hackathons is just one of many tools. But yes, nowadays, if you apply for any job in any technological sector, the very first thing employers typically ask for your GitHub profile. So make sure you have a growing GitHub profile, right? You have more and more projects. So that's how heavy duty software jobs are being given by the best companies on the planet. They are always checking your contributions or your work in these hackathons in your GitHub communities and Stack Overflow and whatnot. If you are very active in the coding communities, you will start getting incoming invites from the best companies like Microsoft, Google, Amazon, and such, right? And Salesforce and such. Okay, there are some other questions on the comment section. Okay, a lot of interest. So that's good to see so much interest in this topic. Will in future there will be a change or transformation that will inculcate human emotion? I think we discussed that. Okay. If Russians thought the same, they wouldn't be a superpower now capable of hacking any nation. Okay. English. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I will not comment on Russians right now. Uh, very helpful. Thank you. Anyone has any queries? Do drop in the comment. Okay. Okay, so far so good. Let me show you some other demos outside of our platform just to be kind of neutral about demos, right? So let me show you some interesting demos. So at one point we had presented to Indian Air Force as well. So you can see some of these vision apps which we discussed, right? And you can see here that the pose estimation algorithm, right, being for our group of dancers. Time series we discussed, yeah. So these things we have seen. Let me show you something else. Bosch accelerator. You can see segmentation algorithm, FCN algorithm, driverless car. Let me just play this video for you so you'll see how this driverless car, the frontal cameras on the dashboard of a driverless car are segmenting the image in front of it at any point of time and color coding. So this is semantic segmentation happening in real time, right? So let me show you a gaming with reinforcement learning. Everybody likes gaming. So this is a racing car. We are trying to keep the car on the track, but the model is not fully trained, so sometimes it veers off the track, right? So it's a gaming environment. We are training with reinforcement learning algorithms. right? So it needs more training so that the car will remain on the racing track. So a lot of gaming is being developed using these techniques. Let me show you a few more before we end for today. So check this out. It's a trailer of a Chinese movie. So on this real time video, we are applying pose estimation algorithm, right? So you can see we are applying pose estimation. So this is useful for defense, of course, many other use cases like cinematography, e-commerce, and such, right? Let me show you a final one here. Okay. So this is object detection on images, right? And AI is probabilistic modeling, so it's identifying cars with a probability, right? 71%, 90%, and so on. 15% probability is a person, 92% it's a truck. Like you can see that, and 100% probability these are aeroplanes. You can see the probability on the back plane is low simply because the blue color of the plane is mixing with the blue color of the sky, right? So it is only able to predict airplane with 27% confidence score because of the blue mixture. Again, the airplane in the back, 83% probability because it's a bit small. So vision technology, right? Vision AI algorithms. Finally, I'll show you a final video and I'll be done. Check this. This is the Russian Air Force, Indian Air Force, Sukhoi from Russia. Sukhoi aircraft, an old, which was a mainstay fighter aircraft IAF was using. But now we have Rafale, of course, and until now we had MiG-29s as well in Indian Air Force. But this is the old Sukhoi fighter, and on the real-time video we are basically doing, segmentation, right? So you will basically, what is a video? Video is a successive set of image frames being rendered at a speed per second. We extract the image frames and then we segment it and put it back in the video. That's how you create this kind of output video, a segmented video, if you will. Okay, those were some of the demos. Open to any final questions for today. I'll stop sharing my screen and try to answer any remaining questions. Okay. How will AI impact or enable social manipulation? Well, AI has negative implication. We have already seen in developed countries like US, where the criminal detection systems will mark people of color as higher probability of being criminals, right? Unfortunately, the historical data suggests that more people of color, African Americans, particularly in United States, were convicted of crime, and that is what the data suggests. So the problem of AI is it is only as intelligent as the data you train it on. If your data is biased and it says people of color are more likely to be criminal, so it will assign a higher bias to predicting people of color are criminal, and that's what the police detection systems of US suggest now. And right, so so that is an unfortunate fact, and we as AI community have a fiduciary duty to clean our data sets and remove the human biases which have persisted, racist and religious bias or any other kind of bias, gender bias. So we as data scientists have a fiduciary human duty to clean the data and remove the human biases and make sure our future AI models are not biased just like humans are, right? And of course in future employers can use your background, your healthcare data to predict if you are going to become a healthcare insurance liability for an employer, and they will not hire you because you might an employee might develop life threatening disease and become an insurance liability at employer's cost, right? So those are things which are on ethical boundaries, and so we as AI scientists have to be careful of not applying this very powerful technology for negative use cases, right? Any other questions?
Uh, no, sir, we don't have any more questions right now. So Thank you, sir. Thank you for coming in for the session. It's been an honor
Sure,
for us to host you, and
sure,
it's been a
sure.
personal, it's very amazing experience I personally had with all the demos you had showed up. And the best part, that we say happy ending is always good. So the demos you have shown, like I was totally feel your part that you have shown in the
Thank you, thank
Chinese
you, Lakshit.
movies and the Russian Sukhoi, Indian aircraft that you have shown. That was, I will definitely try that out with my own, and
Sure,
let's see how I can
sure.
do that better. So it was my honor to host you all. So if anyone has any doubt, so they just drop that in the comment section. Otherwise, we can wrap the session now. So thank you, sir. Thank you for joining in. Thank you,
Sure.
everyone. I hope you all liked the session. It was an so let me share the LinkedIn profile of sir so that you can just get connected. Okay.
We do provide internships in a product
So
team. If you are MLDL expert, we provide internships. So reach out to me through LinkedIn. And if you, yeah, that's my LinkedIn profile. I'm also putting my mobile number in case you want to talk to me. I'm very much accessible. I put my mobile number as well. So reach out to me if you want to do product internship, but for that you have to be MLDL expert. If you need training in MLDL or a vision, NLP, etc., we can provide that as well. Or so we are creating a large AI community, so it would be nice to work with the broader community here. Any other
yeah.
questions for the day?
No questions. So perfect. So one last announcement from my side, folks. So we are Azure Developer Community is hosting a initiative. I hope you must all are aware of this. We are hosting 7-day, 7 domain quiz on Microsoft Azure. So it is the 4th day of 7 domain, 7-day quiz. So do participate in the 7 day, so many day of the quiz. And top 50 participant will be getting Microsoft Azure portal passes, uh, each worth of $100, and top 5 winners will be getting Microsoft swag. So do participate in the quiz and do join some interactive community so that you can get the best out of your skills. So that's it from our side, folks. Thank you, Vivek sir. Thank you here for joining in. Thank you, everyone. Let's
Thank you
bye,
for
sir.
having me. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you,
Bye
sir.
then.